G'day there, how you going? I just thought I'd show you a little demonstration of a snow scene I did earlier today. Just finding a horizon line and just getting the drawing roughly right. It's a pretty good composition, this photograph, so you know, it's pretty sort of stock standard stuff as far as painting goes, but I just wanted to do something, you know, a bit subtle today. I'm just getting things approximately in the right place. I'm not too worried if you know, things aren't copied exactly the same spot. You know, life's short, life's too short. Don't worry about all that stuff. Just get things, you know, roughly right is good. Obviously, you're taking care of perspective and things all the time. We don't want to have a dodgy bit of perspective on our hands. Sometimes during this clip, I pause. You'll see me using a ruler here, which is kind of creepy because I don't really use rulers much. But that big telegraph pole in the middle, I at least wanted to get it in the right spot and have it be not so clumsy, because it can, yeah, it can make or break. I think if you do a nice loose painting and then your telegraph pole's all dodgy, then you know, it can be a bit funny. But that's all right. So just getting stuck into a bit of a sky wash. I don't really care too much about sort of copying, like I always say, but I want to get the rough vibe, and I like that there's a lot of white in the sky. Like the sky is very, very light, very soft, with a couple of bits of stronger blue. As far as colours go, well, bit of cobalt, bit of ultramarine. I ran out of ultramarine halfway through this painting, and because I'm so lazy, I didn't bother to turn around and get a new tube out and squeeze some out, but I just got into the cobalt instead. So all is good. You don't have to be a slave to, you know, to what your brain thinks all the time. You just go with the flow. Why not? Life's short, mate. Life's short. Get amongst it. I wanted to make these mountains kind of strong-ish. As you can see with the reference photo, they are quite strong, and the tonal difference between those and the sort of closer middle ground trees is pretty strong, but I kind of ended up making it stronger. This this overall painting kind of turned out a bit more wishy-washy and a bit lighter overall than I would have liked, but that's okay. It still works really well. I still like the end result. That's what it's all about. Keeping your eyes on the prize. You know, a few little dry brush marks here. Obviously, this is sped up. It's literally double speed as to the actual painting. So, as you can see, it'll end up being about, I think it's about 22 minutes, and I think the painting itself, therefore, would have taken 44 minutes. So, yes, I stopped a little bit. I paused the video in between sections so it could dry off, and you know, so I could tend to my son out there. And but yeah, he's all good. So let's put this road in. This road is one of the parts of this picture that really turned out a lot lighter in the end result than I hoped. So as you can see, it's sort of quite strong here, but it did dry off a lot lighter. I may end up glazing it, I don't know. But yeah, it's all good. But it was getting that in there. So while that background, that distance is soft, I wanted to get some sort of distance stuff in there again, but end up not seeing too much of it. Kind of gets lost in the heavy wash, or the heavy tree line to come in a second. Yeah, well, it's alright. I like how everything's sort of melting in and doing its thing. By the way, if you do enjoy these videos, please hit the old subscribe button and tell a friend, and that's great. That's how I can try and keep this little pirate ship afloat, to steal a term from Adam Carolla. But no, thank you. I appreciate everything you do, and if you do get things out of it and you do want to make a donation, then by all means, thank you. Appreciate it. not necessary whatsoever. And drop me a line too. Get in the comments, start a conversation. I'm happy to have a chat and help and just talk watercolor. I don't care. Good. This is just before I think I finished that first step, and I just splashed a bit of water around. It was just looking a bit too neat, and I was a bit scared of it. I'm not used to painting neatly like this. So there we go. It's dried off a bit. You can see how much that road surface lightened up. Color wise here, I'm going in to mix this big strong dark, well, strongish dark for the middle ground trees. And that brush I've got there is my Skippy brush, my dodgy old Chinese brush that I've just basically beaten to a pulp, and you get some nice marks with it sometimes. So I'm just sort of doing the top of the foliage, and top of the tree line with this, just so it breaks up a bit. And yeah, it's good. Always keep little bits. I mean, this tree line ended up being quite dense, which is fine. That's the vibe we're after. But yeah, always as a general rule, keep a few more gaps in your trees than you think you should. It helps with just helps with giving it a bit more of an airy feel, and it's not so solid. But that's okay. It's all good. We're getting there. Now here I just sort of thought, well, I'm going to mix up a bit of a warmer colour. So I've got a bit of transparent orange, tiny bit of burnt sienna, a tiny bit of blue, and whatever grey was hanging around in the palette there. And I'm just sort of making my general marks at the bottom there with this warm colour, and I'm just going to blend it into the trees, to the stuff above it, So we've got the warm, darkest, the cool, darker stuff coming down into that warmth, just blending in, giving it a bit of variety, really. It looks quite nice. And just wanted to get that little snow line established. We'll call it the horizon line, I suppose. And yeah, it's all just got a couple little bits of extra dark stuff here and there, just putting it in at the base, just to give it a bit more life, a bit more, dare I say, painterliness. So it's a bit more variety. Because in the reference picture, as you can see, it's all pretty solid, just solid, sort of, it's almost black. But I just wanted to give it a bit of life, and overall it's a cool painting. So you've got lots of blues and little purples and things, and I just wanted to give it a bit of warmth and a bit of yin and yang. You've got to always have that yin and yang when we're doing this stuff. Alright, so in there, let's have a look. Bit of a tissue just to blot out a couple of little bits. It just softens an edge here and there and gives us just an extra little bit of atmosphere. Bit of sort of haziness, a bit of fogginess, if you like. Starting to establish the snow. But when you're painting snow, obviously it's all about that white paper. But your shadows are really important, because they're what gives it the volume, the difference and the variety in what you're looking at. So you don't want to just have a massive blanket of white with no shadows and no depth. So just whack some shadows in. I'm not faithfully copying everything on the reference. It is just that, it's a reference. Nothing more, nothing less. Made by, the photo itself's a great photo. Not sure of the girl's name, but she goes by Picture Me Wonderful on Instagram, and she gave me permission to use a couple of her photos as references. She does really nice stuff. So check her out for sure. I think she's American, I'm not sure 100%. Yeah, just establishing that little bit of a lip on the edge of the road there, where the snow meets the road surface. Bit of a lip there, that's good. Alright. Couple of little bits of dark stuff there as well. And obviously, as you'll see when you see the end result of this, it dries up a lot lighter. So always, go a bit heavier than you think you should when it's wet. There's a little bit that I actually contemplated not putting in. It's just a little sort of dark area, but it denotes that there's a bit of a bridge. There's a bridge there, and it actually worked really nice. Worked well, I think. So happy with that. And yeah, it looks okay. Oh, dogs are going nuts. That's okay. It happens. Alright. They'll settle down in a second, I suppose. They're crazy. One of them's mine, the other two are next door. That's next door. All good. Now, this big ass tree on the left. Mixing up, it's a massive mixture of purple, burnt sienna, neutral tint, and a little bit of the cobalt blue. And it's just to make it nice, strong dark, and I'm using that abused Skippy brush, which and it's basically just a normal brush, just a cheapy round brush that I've just bashed and abused into a horrible shape that works really well for these kind of marks. So do yourself a favour, instead of throwing your old brush away, abuse it, and you'll have yourself a good tree brush. It's lovely. And just want to make it a bit more dense. Just thickening everything up a little bit. And a couple little brush strokes, there we go. It's good. Alright, just while I've got that dark on that brush, I'm just having a look to see what else we can do. A couple little dots and dashes here and there. Bit of scraping action. Use whatever tools you've got at your disposal. Watercolor is hard enough as it is without you needing to make it more difficult for yourself. So any of these little things like using a scraper, all of that sort of stuff, if that makes it easier for you, use it. Absolutely use it. And you get variety that way. There's a variety of edges, and that's all very important all the time. There we go. Oh, there we go. We're back in, and I missed the camera went a bit funny there for a second, just for this little section. But that's okay. I'm mixing up a bit of body colour. It's not gouache, it's still watercolour, but it's opaque. It's a colour called Jaune, and this one's made by Holbein that I use. Holbein and Schminky do great stuff. Schminky, I use primarily Schminky paints. They're amazing. But yeah, I just happen to have this Jaune hanging around. If I had my time again, I would probably almost leave this sign that I'm painting now, I would probably leave it as it is. I wouldn't, I messed with it a bit too much, and it looks a bit clumsy in the end, but that's alright, you live and learn. But yeah, this sort of opaque paint, I'm just sort of getting in there to whack these little things in, and then hopefully I'll get a little bit of light and a bit of darkness on the left hand side of things. So we've got some shadows, and it gives it some volume. And I'm being careful not to paint this, because I drew, or I outlined this thing with a ruler. I'm being careful not to stay in the line, so to speak. I'm sort of painting it a bit loosey-goosey and lackadaisical and all those sort of funky-dunky words. So yeah, I still don't want a tight rendering of anything. It's all just bang, bang, bang. Here we go. So don't get too panicky and well, finicky is probably the word I was looking for. So don't do that. Life's short. Live and you paint and loosey and you're giving someone an impression of what's going on. You don't want to spell it out. Just, you know, that's all. Just give them an idea of what's going on. Let the viewer do some work. The viewer needs to do some work with your paintings, because if you spell everything out, there's nothing for them to do, and it's boring. It's just boring. It's not looking at a photo. Blech. Yeah, it's a different thing. But that's cool. Here we go. There's another really subtle little pole there that I just realised, but I can't really tell. Go. Might just start putting a couple of shadows in here, I think. Yeah, a bit of a cast shadow across the road. There we go. Nice one simple, single direct line. That's what you want. You don't want to labour over that stuff. The more you labour over your shadows, the more clumsy they look, and the more, yeah, well, clumsy is probably a good word for it. They just look clumsy the more you labour over it. But that's alright. Speaking of clumsy, I think I ended up putting some red on this sign and stuff, which I wish I didn't, but that's okay. That's okay. Alright, check out my website too, TonyWhiteWatercolor.com. It's got some good stuff there, and you can buy towels and t-shirts and all sorts of stuff with my paintings on. But yeah, check it out if you like, it's good. And also this YouTube channel, please, as I say, share it around. This is where I want to be. This whole YouTube stuff is great. Now see the top of the tree on the left, what I did, I did it off camera without realising, but I just trickled a little bit of water up there while it was still wet, and just, you know, it broke up and gave us a couple of nice little edges. This rigger work with these telegraph pole lines and these phone lines and electricity lines, whatever they are, we just get a rigger and we just do it quickly, and if they work out right, great. If they work out wrong, just leave it. They'll look better when they're wrong than if you try to fix it. Because yeah, the minute you start trying to correct things like this, you lose everything then. But this is sort of the fun part, so it's kind of wrapping the painting up. We start to, you know, get to the business end. There's a couple of little bits there. That is good. So yeah, happy as Larry with that. And it's just starting to bring it all together. Little bitty bobs, billy bobs, and a couple little highlights I think after this, where we grab a bit of white watercolor paint. I don't use gouache anymore. For no reason other than it's just a bit chalky. I think if you use titanium white watercolor, it's quite opaque, but it just doesn't dry off all sort of chalky. It's a bit more subtle. So yeah, if you're going to use the white paint, use that for sure. Yeah, a few little highlights. So not much though. It's really bugger all. It's hardly worth mentioning, really. Yeah, just writing something on there. I think it says diner, but it ends up being obliterated anyway. But that's fine. It's good. I'd rather it be a bit more subtle, so that's good. But no, thank you. I hope you've enjoyed this demonstration, and I'll start getting a few more of these up now. I've got my technology where I need it to be, which is cool. I'm finally figuring this stuff out properly. So I appreciate your support and your kind words. Everyone who watches this channel, you're just bloody legends. And if you want any advice, any help with anything, just let me know and I'll see what I can do. And also comment, like, share, subscribe, all of those things. Let's get me to 1 million subscribers. I'm at about 1,400 at the moment, so there's a bit of ways to go, but I reckon we can do it. I reckon we can do it. 100,000 is my first goal. So let's get there. Share the shit out of it, eh? Be good fun. But no, I hope you're painting well, and I hope this video finds you well, and I'm sure that you'll have a great day. But I appreciate your time watching me, and check out my other videos, and I really appreciate your time. Thank you very much, guys. Have a great day, and I will see you soon very much, and thank you very, very much. Adios, amigos. Thank you. A couple of little birds going there, of course. But no, thank you very much. Love your work. Catch you later. Bye-bye.